Hey everybody, Pastor Josh here, and it is June 8th of 2020. This is the weekly update for Redeeming Grace Church, and I have a handful of things I'm excited about sharing with you. First of all, yesterday I preached a message called God Against Injustice from Psalm chapter 82, and it's always a little scary when you step into some of the current events and speak these things, but it seemed like from my feedback from you that it was helpful. So I thank God for that. And in this update email, at the bottom, I'll list just a whole bunch of books and articles and podcasts that I have found helpful on these topics of injustice, racial unity, government, those kinds of things. So feel free to check those out, and maybe there's something helpful there that will help equip you to think biblically about these things and to be a force for good in these ways and in whatever opportunities God and responsibilities God gives you. So secondly is that this Thursday at 4 p.m. we have a meeting at the Love Inc. building for those of you interested in the Clearinghouse ministry. The Love Inc. building is at 414 East Omaha Street. And the Clearinghouse ministry is where people who need household items can call and request them from Love Inc. And they have a process that they walk people through. And once they get approved, they need teams to go and deliver the furniture and help set it up and everything for these families or individuals. And what I have asked Kane Shagla, who leads that ministry, to consider is drawing a 1 mile circle around the Journey Museum, and every request he gets within that circle, we as Redeeming Grace Church want to do that. We want to meet the needs in our community. There's some real advantages to this. One is that we will get to know our community better and build relationships. So we'll just understand the strengths and challenges of our community and know actual people. Number two, it's the only ministry that I know of where people are asking Christians to come into their home. And so it's just a wonderful opportunity for us to actually see the lives that people are living in our community, and then also for us to actively, openly pray for them, share our lives with them share their lives with us, share the gospel, invite them to church, and they'll already know a few faces when they do come to church. So I think it's just a wonderful opportunity for us to love our neighbor in a real practical way. So if you would love to be part of a team that does that on a regular basis, maybe once a month, then let me know and consider coming Thursday at 4 p.m. to the Love Inc. building, 414 East Omaha Street. And you'll get a tour of the building. You'll see what the ministry is. You'll get it explained to you, and then we'll see from there what we can do. But it's a wonderful opportunity for us to minister. So I'm excited about that. Secondly, if you're newer to our church and you're interested in becoming a member of our church, I would love to know that. And what happens is that once you let me know that, then we begin this process where I send you some information about our church that I'd like you to read through. And then you and I schedule a meeting and we just walk through that. And I explain everything that I can about our church so that you know what you're getting into. And then if you're still interested in joining our church, then the next thing is that we schedule another meeting and I talk to you about, and what we're looking for in that meeting is just, do you understand the gospel? Have you put your faith and trust in the gospel, a credible profession of faith? Have you been baptized as a believer? We do believe that that's part of the Great Commission, that you make disciples, baptizing them after they've put their faith in Him as a faithful obedience to Him. So we do require that for church membership. And then I just ask you a little bit about your church background, just to see if there's anything kind of in your background that would be helpful for us to know. And then if everything looks good and there's no follow-up steps from that, then I bring your name to the membership, the next member family meeting that we have, and I present you as a member of our church, share a little bit of your story, and then the congregation receives you by vote into the membership of the church. And then you now are sharing in the responsibility and the decision making and the discipleship of the church. We do believe that the Bible teaches covenant New Testament membership as the ideal way to grow as a Christian and to journey through life is in the local church as a covenant member. And this is our process for making sure we do that in a careful way. So if you're interested in that or any of the steps in that, like particularly if it's baptism, like you don't understand the baptism component, we'd love to talk to you about that. And we would love to baptize someone who is ready, who's made a profession of faith, hasn't been baptized yet. We would love to be honored to have one of our first baptisms here very soon. So just let me know if that's interesting to you or something that you feel the Lord leading you to do. Another is that if you're interested in getting together with Bree or I, let us know. Like, we try to initiate coffee and lunches and those kinds of things, but you feel free to initiate those with us as too. Our best days are Mondays and Wednesdays, but we would love for you to do that. So don't just wait around for us, but go ahead and initiate. We love to do those things. And even as a family, if you want to go on a hike together or something, just let us know and we'll try to find a way to do that. But we just want to open our lives to you as much as possible. And so don't wait for us. Go ahead and initiate it and we will work it out. And then lastly, I'm really excited about this, is that this fall, I am wanting to spend some time, Bree and I, together to do some equipping of women within our church. I think that a lot of churches like us don't always do a good job of pouring into women and equipping them to be forces for the gospel in their home, their church, and in their community. And so I want to give some focused time to that, not just delegate that to someone like Bree or someone else, and they would do a great job, but I want to show that there is a pastoral investment in this, that there's this Ephesians 4, pastors equip all the saints for the work of the ministry. So what this would look like is basically one meeting per month for 8 months. So it would be basically the whole school year, probably on a Sunday evening for about 2 or 3 hours. And what it is, we just really go deep together, Bree and I leading a small group of women that want to go through this, deep into the gospel, exploring the passages that talk about biblical femininity, and then a lot about ministry and discipleship, and including a lot of case studies, like a woman that's in this situation, what would be the best way to disciple and engage her with the gospel? What about this? What about this? What about this? Conflict resolution, all those kinds of things, how to handle scripture. And so it's going to be very intense, and it's going to be a high bar in that we expect. We're going to need all the women to be at every single session. It is for those who are members of our church, so there is already an expectation that you've made a covenant commitment to the local church and you've followed through on that, and then are ready for this additional training. And what's going to be helpful for me is I'm going to get to hear from women's perspectives on these things, and that'll make me a better pastor to hear those things and to know those things and know that there is already some groundwork laid for conversations to be had where I can ask questions and they can ask questions, and we can know each other's heart and know each other's strengths and gifts. And then as a pastor, that helps me know who I can point women to, and how I can arrange the ministry of our church for comprehensive flourishing in the gospel. I'm thinking of calling it Ezer training. Ezer is the Hebrew word for helper, and God actually uses it the most of himself in the Old Testament, where he talks about he is our helper. He is our helper in times of trial, sin. He leads us through all these different things. And so I would love to raise up women to be helpers in the ministry, helpers of other women, and helpers of the pastor and elder in seeing the whole church flourish. That's also the word that God uses for Eve, that God created Adam and then gave him this mandate, but he was completely incapable of doing it. He only brought half of what was needed to the table. The other half needed to be provided. And so God created this Ezer, this woman, to come alongside, and then together they're fruitful and multiply and accomplish the mission God has given them. So our mission, to enjoy, display, and share God's redeeming grace with our community. We can't just lean one way or the other. We both need both men and women working and helping one another together. And I'm hoping that this training is a place where we begin to build the strength and the groundwork for that to happen in the life of our church. So if that is interesting to you and something that you would consider making the commitment to be a part of, then let me know, and I would love to just include you, that as we develop this together and find some guinea pigs to try it out on, would love to know who that is, who would be willing to make that high commitment, to really invest in this thing, and then help us figure out how to do this well the first time. And then I'm hoping that it happens every year, that we just take another set of women through it, and it just becomes this, we become a church known for discipling women and then unleashing them to be gospel forces in their churches and in their homes and in their communities. So anyway, that's what I'm excited about. Those are some things that are coming up. Hope that I can connect with you in some way this week. Hope you have a great week. Keep praying for us as we think about how we can regather. All options are on the table. I'm considering everything. And so thanks for just being patient, and pray that the Lord would make it clear what we should do and when, and we'll just trust that He is leading us. So thanks. Let me please jump in on any of these things you're interested in. I love you, and we'll see you soon.